And quite frankly, I'm a huge supporter of our children's sports. And I think this is why, it's important that as we look towards westward expansion, we set up an awesome sports complex down the road so we don't have these kinds of issues in our residential communities.
Palm Coast City Council member Charles Gambaro leading the discussion on Ralph Carter Park about its use and the lights for evening games.
Light shields on all the light poles at Ralph Carter Park, purchased for $12,000 by the city, don't seem to satisfy everyone in the area when evening games are played on the park's fields.
I went out there the other night to look at the blaring lights where the residents live on the backside. My understanding is that park was designed to be a community park, not a sports complex. And then the sound, it was loud at 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Veteran council members thought the problem was solved, but with the new city council, the topic is showing up again. Mayor Mike Norris.
I like facts and figures too, and we researched it, and we checked all the properties that were purchased, and 80% or so were after 2009, after the lights were installed. So the people that didn't like it, they got out. I would assume they got out, or they passed away, and things change, economic conditions change for people, but those lights have been there since 2009. I remember taking my kids out there back then.
Acting City Manager Lauren Johnston sheds light on having a sportsplex in the future.
I will tell you that we do need a sports complex. We need to plan for one somewhere, somehow. We need to actively start doing that. It's called out in the Parks Master Plan as well, and just that we're a growing community and we're seeing more kids in organized youth sports, so trying to identify a plan and a funding mechanism for that is important as well.
And Vice Mayor Teresa Pontieri made it clear she supports the park's current use.
I will be very outspoken about that being shut down. That's where too many kids go and play sports and stay out of trouble and have a good outlet to get team sports, save so many kids and are so good for our community.
She also reminded council members steps have been taken and money spent to alleviate the so-called problems with the use of Ralph Carter Park. Meanwhile, more discussion about the park is expected at a future workshop meeting. For Flagler's Local Morning News, I'm Karen Johnson.
Good morning, Flagler County. I'm Rich Carroll. You're listening to Flagler's Morning News on Friday, February 28th.
Our Problem Area Crime Enforcement Unit teamed up with the U.S. Marshals Service to locate a fugitive from South Florida at the Red Roof Inn in Palm Coast.
Fugitives Damian Burton and Iris Grant are arrested at a Palm Coast hotel. Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley.
Deputies in the U.S. Marshals Service contacted 2 individuals at the hotel, and both were wanted. The main fugitive was wanted for discharging a firearm from a vehicle, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and he was also wanted with multiple warrants in Broward County for violation of probation. His friend, a female, was also arrested for possession of methamphetamine, possession of cocaine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and multiple other charges. The original fugitive was also found to be in possession of methamphetamine, cocaine, oxycodone, and a bunch of other smorgasbord drugs. Both were taken to the Green Roof Inn. This is another fugitive that thought he and his friend could come to Flagler County to hide out in a hotel room and do drugs. But he learned, like so many others before, that was a mistake. We work with our partners, and fugitives only have one hotel room to stay in, and that's at the Green Roof Inn. Great job by the entire team.
This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota US 1 St. Augustine, here to wow you.
We work very well together.
Sometimes there's not enough hours in the day for the two of us.
We're getting a closer look at the inner workings of Flagler County government.
Flagler County Administrator Heidi Petito and Deputy County Administrator Jorge Salinas joined last week's Friday Free-for-All.
When you ask what does a day look like for us, basically besides the beach, which is the main project, we have other construction, vertical projects. Like, for example, we have 3 projects in design right now, 3 in construction.
One of those projects is a 48-bed medical facility for SMA Healthcare.
SMA Healthcare we've been partnering with for the last few years. We first started with the Flagler Access Center, which took place at the old library. That was an original legislative appropriation that we had gotten. And then a couple of years ago, we went after another one as a public-private partnership to build this facility for them. We had gotten $10 million. They came to the table, wanted something a little bit bigger, something that could accommodate the growth in Flagler, and they came to the table with $4 million to be able to expand that project for the future.
Commissioner Greg Hansen says the facility will fill a gap for the county.
We had really no mental health, substance abuse
For men.
for health. We had the Women's Center that was out off Old Hawk Creek Road out there by the jail, and that was good. But this project brings now a men's center, and it's going to be right across the street.
That new facility should be open by next summer. I'm Daryl Moody reporting.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Rich Carroll.
And now, Mike Lee Show with your WNZF local sports update.
The Palaca Daily News reports that Palaca High School head football coach Patrick Turner resigned Wednesday. Sources tell WNZF Sports Turner will be the next football coach at FPC. He was the Panther coach for 4 years, making the playoffs the last 3 with a 21-12 record in that span. In 12 years as a head coach, Turner has won 67 games and made 7 playoff appearances. It was busy at the Ship last night, with 3 games going on simultaneously. On the football deck, it was a flag football showdown between the Bulldogs and the Pirates. Pine Ridge was the guest on the baseball deck, and Bartram Trail found themselves on the softball deck. The flag football game was postponed after a Matanzas player was injured in the second quarter. The game was scoreless at the time and will be completed at a later date. In softball, the Pirates and Bears battled through 7 scoreless innings. Bartram scored 2 in the top of the 8th to take the lead in extras. In the bottom half, Mackenzie Manhart drove in Gracie Giesberg, and Leah Stevens scored Manhart. With 2 out, Juliette Fogel went the other way, and Ashley Samsell hit a liner into the corner, scoring Fogel for a 3-2 walk-off win. Samsell said she and Fogel had both been struggling.
It was definitely a great feeling because we had a little bit, we were in our struggle together, so to just triumph and succeed together was absolutely amazing. Bartram Trail is obviously a great team, and if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best.
Fogel had no doubt Ashley would get her home.
I knew she was going to get me home because she was in the same situation I was, and when I saw her at the plate, I just knew somehow.
It felt like one of those nights for Leah Stevens. Number 22 struck out 22 for the Pirates. In baseball, Pine Ridge defeated Matanzas 8-3. The FPC boys track team took first place at the East Coast Classic. They head to the Haggerty Invitational today. The Friday slate is full. In baseball, FPC is at Seabreeze, Matanzas at Father Lopez. In lacrosse, Matanzas host the Providence boys. The FPC girls are at Gainesville. Finally, FPC softball hosts Fleming Island. This is your home for local sports, with updates Mondays and Fridays. From the WNZF Sports Desk, I'm Mike Licio.